Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations. EmergingINV.com is their website. It's #1 private investigation agencies. If you need help with a cheating spouse or maybe some insurance fraud, a missing person, they are the folks to go to. Nick Geddes is not missing, despite spending most of his morning on the Gandy Bridge. How are you this morning?
I'm not well.
Traffic sucks, man.
I hate sitting on a bridge in traffic.
And we can't complain. We're not supposed to complain because of our folks to the south that are doing
Yes,
so
I
much
know.
worse. At least we have roads that are passable.
I know that.
So shut up.
Okay.
As I'm the first to complain, right?
Yeah, literally.
This morning.
No, but I just don't get it, though. Like, I went to the entire thing, and I couldn't tell you what the problem was.
Is that not the most frustrating thing? Is like you get to the problem, and it's like, what? It's off to the side. Why are you people stopping? Move your effing
on the
ass.
Google
Let's
Maps,
go.
it said speed trap ahead.
Ooh.
Or speed check. And I'm
Ooh.
like, what does that mean?
Oh,
What's a
yeah.
speed check?
First of all, there were speed traps all the way up to Tallahassee this weekend. I just wanted to say, you're a state trooper. You know, isn't there something better you could be doing in South Florida,
Right.
Southwest Florida? Seriously. No, seriously. I mean, I know that you have to protect all the places, but you're running a speed trap in northern Florida while everybody's coming through to get down to Southwest Florida. Are you serious? Are you serious? Come on. We're better than that. Thanks for pulling me over to $250 ticket while I'm trying to get down to Southwest Florida to help people. But anyway, we digress. All right, coming up on the big show today, we got a lot of Bucs talk, Rays talk as their playoff seating is now set. They're headed to Cleveland for a Friday 4 o'clock, I believe, showdown with the Cleveland Indians, best of 3, all in Cleveland. And we'll see if the Rays can find some bats. They lose to the Red Sox last night after jumping out to a big lead. Although, let's just be honest, the results of these games are completely unimportant. And the most important thing is setting up your rotation for this weekend, which we will talk about as we go through the show today. Scott Reynolds will join us at 10:30, TJ Rives at 11:15. And I just put out a poll, young Nick. And this is not me saying that Todd Bowles is doing a horrible job. This is me reacting to a lot of you folks out there that are bitching about Todd Bowles. He's not the guy. He's so stoic. He just sits there on the sideline. His press conferences are bad, blah, 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 blah. So I put out a poll today, and I was wondering what you guys think about the job that Todd Bowles is doing. So basically I said through 4 games with Todd Bowles taking over, the Buccaneers are 2-2. What would best describe your take on how Bowles is doing as head coach? Wow, we already have 35 votes in 5 minutes. It's early. He's fine. Is getting 54%. In over his head, getting 14%. Better DC than HC, getting 29%. Interesting. He will win the Super Bowl, only getting 3% at this particular time. So I think this will be very interesting to see where fan base is. We've already 40, so this will be good. Well, by the end of the show, we should get a pretty good feeling for where everybody's head's at. I'm going with it's early. He's fine. Todd Bowles is a very, very good defensive coordinator. There's no question about that. We really, I was thinking about this, we have a lot of game management situations in terms of late in the game, 4th down calls, clock management, and we really haven't had a whole lot of those situations. The Bucs have, in their 2 wins, they were pretty much well ahead and in control of the game. Their 2 losses, I guess, going down, late against the Packers, you got to go for 2. There's obviously no decision there. I thought their game management, their time management in the game was fine. I can't really recall any uses of timeouts. I guess my biggest problem right now with Oh, that's nice. You put it up right there on our screen. Very nice. Look at you going to work over there, Nick. You're flat out producing this morning. I love this. Look at this. We have our poll right up on our YouTube channel. If you're watching us on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, you can see the poll right there. So, so as I look at him as a coach, I would say, trying to filter out head coach as opposed to DC. I just don't see where I can say there have been any egregious mistakes on game management, which, by the way, is a plus. I mean, by this time I would probably had 5 or 6 questions. I remember when Bruce Arians first started, there were so many questions. He screwed up an onside kick situation early on in his tenure. The bad clock management early on in his tenure, as I recall. There was a lot of issues with Bruce Arians as the head coach when it went at first for me. When obviously they go on to win the Super Bowl, and as that season went through in 2020, they got better. But under Jameis, that first year, there were a lot of question marks starting off. What were they, 2-5?
They were 2-6, if I recall. I think they started out 2-2, lost 4 in a row, ended up 7-9. There's a lot of new head coaches around the league, and I think the good example is the one that's getting kind of poked at the most right now is Nathaniel Hackett in Denver. Right?
Rightfully so.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully
we
so.
see that. That looks like
that's what a bad head coach looks like,
That's what a bad
folks.
head coach looks like.
Do you see that here in Tampa Bay? No.
I don't.
No, not even close.
I think yesterday I touched on it a lot. I feel like there's like an arrogance almost, or just an unwillingness to adapt a little bit with the way Bowles likes to have the corners playing 10 yards off the ball, offensively left which with the running in inopportune times and whatever there. But with Bowles specifically, I don't think most of the problems the Bucs have are coaching induced. I really don't. I think the players just had, and by the way, very telling, when Bowles put it on him and the coaching staff yesterday, it was Mike Evans who stepped in and said, "No, coach, it's on us. It's on the players," which, by the way, leadership from Mike Evans right there. But I think that's true. I think the players, these guys are all making a lot of money, like you said yesterday. These guys have won Super Bowls. They're chasing Super Bowls. They're in various parts of their career. You just got to play better. I don't think this is coaching. To me, if it's a coaching problem, it jumps off the map to me. And I don't think I've seen that, honestly, yet. Here.
No, not at all. You could talk about, and a lot of people are talking about John Harbaugh. 20 to 20.
That's ridiculous
at the 1 or 2 yard line, trying to get a touchdown instead of a field goal. I agree with you. I think the people that are talking about you need to kick the field goal there, that's a 1985 mentality. I mean, this game is way different now. And as Harbaugh said, with 4 minutes left in the game, you're basically telling the Bills you have 4 downs just to get into field goal territory. So with the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen as quarterback, the likelihood of them getting in field goal territory with 4 downs is about 85 to 90%. I don't care how good your defense is. So absolutely, and they got a good field goal kicker. So there's no I mean, that's not even a question for me. You got to execute the play. You got to score a touchdown. That may be your last possession in the game. And you got Lamar Jackson. You're at the 1 yard line. Go score the damn touchdown.
It's clear. Like I said, it's clear to me when we have head coaches problems in the league.
Yes.
Like Brandon Staley, I think, is holding back the Chargers. If they're going to have a downfall, it's going to be him.
Yes. Too aggressive. Stupid aggressive.
We knew Joe Judge, problem.
Yes.
Matt Nagy, problem.
Yes.
Matt Rule,
yes.
problem. These head coaches, Mike Zimmer, unwillingness to change a 1980s offense. And there's a common theme there. Those teams don't win, or those coaches don't have jobs anymore. And those ones are glaringly obvious.
Yes.
To me, Todd Bowles is the least of the issues at the moment, despite the fact that I think he needs to. I mean, he always usually reacts pretty well defensively, but I just think he struggled in that facet on Sunday night.
Well, I think what to me the only glaring part right now is it's I don't think you can put any of these issues. The number one problem for the Buccaneers so far this season has been what? Injuries. You know, a head coach has nothing to do with that, except how do you manage the injuries? How do you win games? You know, how do you go and win games when you have injured players? The fact that they won, against New Orleans with the injuries that they had, they were in the game against the Packers and could have won that game against the Packers with all those injuries. And I know the Packers were injured too, so I get it. So I don't see any glaring mistakes. I guess and this has been what a lot of a reaction I get on social media is, he's not into the game. He's not, it's an emotional game. He's not fiery. He's not inspirational. And again, look at Tony Dungy. Look at Tom Landry. Look at some of the greats of the game. Then you could say, look at John Madden. He was pretty emotional dude. John Gruden was an emotional dude, but you'd say he did win the Super Bowl, but his overall record not that great. Bill Belichick. I mean, when's the last time you saw Bill Belichick throw a headset?
He almost threw on the other day.
Yeah, he almost did. Yeah, I mean, he's just not a really super emotional guy. I just don't think that's a thing in professional football. College football, yes, I think teams do take on the personality of the coach, but those are younger kids. I think with the pros, it's a different story.
Well, let's just call it what it is. Todd Bowles is not a sexy hire.
Right.
He's not. He's not some young offensive guru in his 30s or late 40s.
Thankfully, because most of those guys don't work out.
He doesn't come from the Sean McVay tree.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a great quote, right? Nobody's rushing to go. I look at the views on the Bucs YouTube for all these press conferences. Nobody's rushing to go see what Todd Bowles has to say.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's just what it is, in my opinion. He kind of seems like a vanilla head coach.
Yeah.
But I really don't think that's the thing. And I think he has the locker room. The players respect him. And you know what really all that matters to me? Tom Brady signed off on him being the head coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you really want the biggest seal of approval, there it is.
Yep. Absolutely. That's a great point right there. And there's so much that goes on that we don't know about. All we can kind of do is judge on game day. I mean, I obviously have sources within the organization, and you hear things, but everything I hear about Todd Bowles is supremely positive. The players love him. They respect him. They play hard for him. I would say last game, I would say the Chiefs game was the only game where I would say this team was not prepared from an intensity standpoint. And again, I put that on the players and the leadership within the locker room. To me, that if the guys aren't running around with their head on fire and playing as hard as they should play, in the professional football, that to me goes more to the players, the leadership within the locker room, than it does with the head coach. Although the head coach is ultimately responsible for getting them to play. And I could tell in watching Todd Bowles in that post game and, being in the lot, and this is one of the reasons I love going to press conferences and seeing people face to face. He was genuinely disappointed in himself. And I think, and we're going to hear from Todd Bowles this morning, when he went back and looked at that tape, he saw his plan. His game plan was not executed the way he wanted it to be executed. That's on the players. And that's why Mike Evans stood up and said, no, this is on us, coach. But also I think he saw scheme wise, they got outcoached. Especially defensively. They were not ready. There were way too many wide open guys, whether that's miscommunication, whether that's not being prepared fully, whatever it was, that looked like that was a night that Andy Reid and they got over on Todd Bowles. There's no question about that. And you could see it during the game. So, yes, I think that's the question. Now, Joe F. Says if there is a coaching issue, it's more on Leftwich than Bowles. I think maybe that'll be the topic for tomorrow.
I think if you put a poll up right now about how would you describe how you feel about Byron Leftwich, it's going to be an overwhelmingly negative reaction there. And maybe a little bit too harsh. I don't know. But, again, I touched on this a lot yesterday. I don't think his play calling abilities are advanced as some of these other young play callers.
I would agree with that.
I mean, a good example I'm watching last night was San Francisco, and I'm looking at the mastery of Kyle Shanahan, who I have been a little bit critical of, but I'm looking at that and it's like he finds a way to get Deebo Samuel the ball. He finds a way to get that guy the ball, and it's so creative. You see all the different things that San Francisco's doing. It's such a modern offense.
Yep.
And I think the Bucs offense is just very, like we said yesterday, we called it vanilla, whatever you want to call it. There's not a lot of modern in it, in my opinion.
As we sit here and last year, they were second in the league in points, number one in total offense. I mean, Byron Leftwich running that offense. So
I think Bruce had some influence,
of
more
course
influence than maybe he let on.
Of course he did. And obviously Brady has a huge amount of influence as well. So what's wrong? What's different this year? It's the injuries. I mean, it's pretty, and it's the new offensive line. This offensive line, I think we thought, okay, they should be able to run the ball. Todd Bowles wants to run the ball. There's no question about that. This offensive line is not good. His offensive line gets overpowered. When I'm watching the tape yesterday, I see it time and time again. Shaq Mason moves people. Tristan Wirfs moves people. The left side of the line, not moving people. And in the last, I've said this many times, I'll repeat it. Since the Cowboys game, there has been a lack of creativity in the run game. No jet sweeps, no counter trays, no. We were moving offensive linemen in week one, and now suddenly that all stopped. And I don't know why. Hopefully this week we can now ask Byron Leftwich that. I want to do a little bit more investigation on the tape before I ask him that question, to be quite honest. But just my gut feeling is there's been no jet sweeps. There's been no creativity to the running game the last 3 games, and that's where it's gotten bad. You got to be multiple. You can't just line up in I formation or just one single back and run the ball off tackle. There's got to be misdirection. There's got to be motion. There's got to be pre-snap motion. They got to get in the right play. They're just not getting that done in the run game. And I think that's where the lack of creativity really, really shows.
Yeah, but I still think, too, I mean, and I heard a lot of people talking about it on all these shows, and I 100% agree, is the deep shots have gone away as well. And I don't know if it's they just don't have the guy to do it because Julio doesn't have his I don't know. Julio, I don't know what you're going to get out of him, honestly, for the rest of the season. Chris Godwin's never been that guy. I think there's this conception that there's this, narrative or whatever feeling that Mike Evans is that kind of guy, but I don't really think he is. I think he's more of a possession receiver, and he wins on his own. I don't think he's that deep ball guy necessarily, like a specialty. Scotty Miller is not getting on the field anymore. Cole Beasley's not doing it. Russell Gage, I think the hamstring injury for Russell Gage is going to be something that just kind of lingers all year long. And I think that's taken away his explosiveness, honestly, because he could get flat and vertical again when he was in Atlanta. I haven't seen it here because it feels like every play that he catches the ball, he's always pulling up with his hamstring or something. So I think part of that's they just don't have that deep threat. But again, like you said, the offensive line, it's not holding up enough for him to probably take those deep shots. So it's a little bit different. And, the fact of the matter is we could sit here and talk about it all day, but the Bucs the reality is they're just not where they want to be right now. I mean, they're an average football team at the moment.
Yeah. Yep, they're 2-2, and I would say if I have another criticism of Todd Bowles, it's as a defensive coordinator, they're starting so slow. But here's the deal: who's making the adjustments during the game? Todd Bowles. And previous to this game, they were the number 1 defense in football.
He was pushing all the buttons.
Come on, yeah, they're starting slow, but he makes great adjustments during the game. Give me the guy I'll rather have the guy that starts slow and shuts them down the rest of the game, and they only score 9 points a game, as opposed to the guy that, is holding, teams to 24 points on a weekly basis.
Here's the thing. Sometimes, I feel like as a head coach, sometimes there's just not much you can do.
Yeah.
There's really not. I mean, did he tell Devin White to overrun everybody?
No.
Did he tell Levante David to get confused in coverage against Travis Kelce, a guy who locked down the Super Bowl?
No.
Did he tell him to do that?
No.
I think he told the corners to play 10 yards off. That's where I'm always going to hold them against that one.
Yeah, not a huge fan of that.
I'm not a huge fan of that. And then you got to look at the quarterback on the other side of the ball.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's
Pat Mahomes.
just that.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick is regarded as the greatest head coach of all time, right?
Right.
I was listening to his press conference yesterday.
With Tom Brady, by the way, which is
Tom Brady. Whatever.
Obviously very evident.
Yeah, but they played Aaron Rodgers, and even Bill Belichick admitted, Aaron Rodgers beat us. Like, he's just that good. He's like, we played great defense, but he just made it. To me, it's part of it. Patrick Mahomes is just that good.
You go look at some of the third down plays, and I'll say some of the third down plays were schemed up. Those stacked tight end screens out wide, they were getting three people on 2 every single time. That's coaching.
Yeah.
That's coaching. That's great play calling. That's coaching. When you can outnumber the other team at the point of attack, that's what from an X's and O's standpoint, that's the game. When you talk about the game of chess, obviously you capture the king. That's the goal. In football, it's to outnumber the opponent at the point of attack, to create a great matchup in certain situations. That's what great coaching is about. And you saw Andy Reid do that time and time again. You saw Byron Leftwich do that time and time again as Mike Evans was getting matched up on a safety, a smaller safety in certain situations, or a smaller corner. That's good coaching. But there just comes time when Jimmy Garoppolo threw that ball to Deebo Samuel last night that almost got picked. He jumps up and catches it, makes 5 guys miss, runs through Jalen Ramsey. Ain't no coaching going on. Ain't no coaching going on. That's a football play. And that happened a lot when Mahomes outruns Pat O'Connor on the corner and then makes Devin White look like a clown as he's hanging all over him, can't bring him down, and he's flipping it over the top everybody was in the right position there. Everybody was in the right position. They didn't make the play. Patrick Mahomes did. That's not coaching.
I tell you what, though, what you can control, and this is the player, again, this goes on the players, not the coaching. It's one thing to get beat by Patrick Mahomes. It's another to get beat by Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Isaiah Pacheco.
Right.
To the tune of almost 200 rushing yards on the ground.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. For a defense that is built on stopping the run And again, I think we need to talk about it more. I mean, Vita Vea, we're paying you a lot of money.
Yeah.
We are paying you a lot of money to do one thing.
Yep.
Stop the run. I'm not paying you to get to the quarterback. We've accepted that you're never going to be that guy, but I'm paying you a lot of money to stuff the run. And he's not doing it right now. And nobody on that line's doing it. I'm watching Joe Tryon Shoinka. I don't know if you got a chance to watch some of his plays.
Yeah.
Horrendous. I mean, there's so many times he's going up so wide.
Yep.
And he's taking himself out of it and leaving that whole hole right there on the left side.
Yeah.
It
There's a technique to setting the edge,
There's a
and
technique, and he's
you
not
can't
doing
get
it.
so far upfield that you create a crease.
No.
But you have to get outside and make sure that they turn it in. So he's got that part right, but now he's got to fight a little bit more and make sure that he holds the edge in a good way so the running back can't get outside, but also you're not leaving a gaping hole on the inside. Vita, look, I'm just going to tell you, Kansas City Chiefs offensive line was highly motivated, and I put that on Shaq Barrett. You know, these guys are good enough in the NFL, but when you call them out like that, when you call out their manhood and you laugh at them, I'm sorry, I love Shaq Barrett to death, but we pointed it out last week. You can't do that. There's just no reason to do that. And they played like it. They played like they were angry MFers, and they beat up the Dolphins. I mean, the Buccaneers front seven. They just did.
And when you go back and look at those comments from Shaq Barrett, you know, the offensive line, this is a completely rebuilt Chiefs offensive line.
Yeah.
And I think what the big thing in the middle, and this is why they had so much success in the run game, Creed Humphrey, a lot of people may not be familiar. I mean, watching the centers play, that guy was an all-pro last year as a rookie in center.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And he had his way with Vita Vea. That's a big difference right there. Trey Smith's a really good right guard. Joe Tooney has done this a long time.
Yes, he has.
In protecting Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. Not a bad career for you, huh?
Yeah, in fact, on Pancakes this morning, Jeff Saturday had, I think it was Trey, the guard.
Trey Smith.
Body slamming Nunez Rocha.
That's what I'm saying. That's a pretty good offensive line there.
Yeah.
That they've rebuilt.
Yeah. So these were issues that were, I think, way more player related. I will say, but again, I do think that the Bucs got out coached from a defensive scheme perspective, but much more from a execution standpoint. And offensively, they were fine. They scored 31 points. The run game is an issue. There's no question about that. And that's something that Todd Bowles is going to have to coach around. This is to me where the coaches really show their aptitude as far as adjustments go, because this game is so much about adjustments. You can go into the season and saying, look, we want to run the ball more. We don't want Tom throwing the ball 52 times like he did this week. We don't want to expose him to hits. We want more balance, give our defense a rest. There's no question that's a better scheme. And they've got, when you have a passing game like the Buccaneers have, it should be easier to run the football because teams should not be stacking the box. That said, with all that being, yes, that's good football, sound fundamentals right there. Problem is, your offensive line can't move people. And evidently, they're missing assignments. They're not blocking. And if you can't move people up front, if you're not taking the right angles, if you're not executing the blocking schemes of, and maybe a lot of this is just not blocking the right people, because you got three new guys in there in the middle, and two of them are playing in their first season. There's going to be adjustment time. And this is not to say that Gedeke can't do it. I saw some good fighting him against Chris Jones in this game. I saw some good fight. I also saw him getting overpowered a lot. I saw Hainsey getting overpowered, and they're not moving people at the point of attack, but Shaq Mason does, and Tristan Wirfs does. So I think they're learning that they can run right more than they can run left. And I think they're learning that they've got to run out of spread offenses. I do not like this constant three tight end. Okay, now we're going to run. Let's put more people in the box and let's run. I've always hated that idea. To me, it's much easier, especially when you have great receivers. Spread them out and then run the football. That to me is a much better way to do it. And these are the adjustments that we need to see. And if we don't see it, then we'll start calling out the coaches.
I'm already past calling out Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, I know.
I already am.
Yeah. All right. Tom Brady spoke last night on his Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray, brought to you by Hertz, brought to you by Pfizer. And he did speak about his shoulder injury a little bit, but you're never going to get much on Brady. But this is him talking about the injury and how he stays healthy with his man. Alex Guerrero.
1 sec here. Let me.
No, sorry. Thought you had that queued up.
Yeah, 1 sec here. Let me get it up here real quick.
And he also, I don't know what this part specifically says, but he talked a lot about the pliability and keeping the muscles soft and long, and that's why he gets less soft tissue injuries.
All right, let's go to it here.
They're doing okay, just some bumps and bruises, and I kind of took a hit there on it. Got some treatment today, got it a little bit last night, so I'm sure I'll be fine in the end. Thank God for Alex, who's always taking good care of me, and he's put together and helped me through a lot of bumps and bruises over the years. So this week will be very similar to a lot of the other ones, just getting on the man, getting back to practice, and trying to improve and be ready to go for next week.
Yeah, well, whatever they do to recover, he's doing really, really well. Obviously, Brady has plays through a lot of injuries. He played through a torn meniscus during the Super Bowl season, so I'm not worried about him. He'll be ready to go against the Falcons this weekend, Sunday at 1:00. No question about it. He also talked about playing from behind, which is something that the Bucs have done every single game. Obviously, in the 2 wins, they got up eventually, and they were able to be more balanced. But in the 2 losses, they did become, I think, much more one-dimensional. So here's Brady talking about the struggles of playing from behind.
What's it like?
It's pretty challenging, and we put ourselves in that position now for the first 4 weeks of the season. We've basically been behind in every game, which forces you to be one-dimensional offensively and allows the other team to be multi-dimensional. And when you play against a good team like the Chiefs, who have a great quarterback, and they're playing the style of play they want to play, it just is not the way that you want to play good teams. And we're going to have to figure out how to be better on third down on both sides of the ball. We've got to eliminate turnovers and get turnovers offensively and defensively. We got to continue to improve on special teams, and we got to learn from our mistakes. That's what football season's all about. We definitely have not played very good football the first 4 weeks. Hopefully we can turn it around here and find our rhythm and get better, make improvements, get to practice, and make the improvements we need to make in order for us to reach our potential. So it's a long season. We're 2-2. It's certainly not where we want to be, but if we want to do something about it, we got to get our ass out there and do a better job.
Well, there you go. And I think you're going to see a little bit more fire from Brady this week. I bet you're going to see a lot more fire from him at practice. Just listening to the podcast last night, where I thought there was a lack of fire after the loss in the press conference. It just, I said this on yesterday's show. Brady just seems a little bit different. His demeanor seems a little bit different this year. It's not as intense as it normally is. After the Packers loss, he was pretty pissed off, though. He was pretty intense. This week, it just, I don't know. I just want to see it bother him more, like I've seen it in the past. This one, I think he took a little bit too easy. But some of the things he said last night on the podcast seemed to think like we got to get our ass playing better, and I like that. All right, here's Brady talking about the struggles in the running game.
Yeah, it's too difficult to become one-dimensional over the course of the season, and we have not done a good job in the run game this year. We started off pretty good against Dallas, who's actually a really good defense and ran the ball really well. And against the Saints, it wasn't very good. Against the Packers, it wasn't very good yesterday. And I think a lot of it, comes down to playing from behind, where you become one-dimensional and you throw the ball so much. But at the same time, we need to be productive when we do run it. So getting ourselves in the right run play, getting our guys the right angles and the right opportunities to have some confidence that we can make yards when we hand the ball off. So I think being efficient is one, being explosive. Another, see when you play from a lead like the Chiefs did yesterday and they have everything at their disposal, you have the opportunity to run the ball a lot more. And we've got to be able to play with the lead. We got to stop turning the ball over. We got to get ahead. We got to make third downs. We got to score points. And when we get ahead, it allows you to do both. And if you do both well, you become very tough to stop on offense.
So as much as you would love to throw the ball, being one-dimensional is a bad recipe.
I agree. And I also think that, you could get away with it for a game or two, but over the course of a long season, you have to have the ability to rush the football at a high level and the ability to throw the football at a high level. You have to be able to do both. And you got to be able to defend the pass. You got to be able to stop the run. You got to be able to run the ball. You got to be able to pass the ball. So, good teams find a way to do that. And, again, we're still figuring out who we are, what we're good at. Every year is a little something different. the strengths of the team are different, and we're going to have to find ways to improve as we go forward.
Look, it becomes very important, and this is where coaching comes up. You have to figure out a way to run the football. And from what I'm seeing on tape, again, it's the two inside guys, the new guys, and it's the scheme. It's very, very predictable. And there's run tendencies, and these are things that you got to coach. You coach out of it, and it's not easy. The Rams can't run the football. You see that last night? I mean, they're having issues. I think Matthew Stafford targeted Cooper Kupp 20 times. Like that's his only answer right now is to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. That's it.
Yeah.
He has no confidence in any of the other receivers. Cam Akers is not doing it. They've got their offensive line is a disaster. And that's the thing. You want to bang on Leftwich. Look, is Sean McVay a bad coach? No, he's not a bad coach. But what's wrong with the Rams offense right now? Injuries.
Bad offensive line.
Bad offensive line injuries. That sound familiar?
A little bit.
Yeah. It's hard to coach when there's nothing in the toolbox, man. It's hard to coach. You just want to you gotta give up a lot of things just to come up with a viable game plan. That's going to get the job done. Look, you're going up against Aaron Rodgers, for God's sakes. Your running game sucks. Your best wideout is Russell Gage, who's played a grand total of 2 games with Tom Brady. You're bringing in Cole Beasley off the street who can't stand up and catch a pass. I mean, the toolbox is kind of empty here. So, but I guess the frustration comes up when you see, and here's the other thing. You see all this motion that the Chiefs are running, right? And they're going all over the field. There's a lot of misdirection. When you don't have your regular guys in there, you try running that stuff, guys are going to be running into each other. And it's going to even look like even more of a clown show. So you got to at least do the things that you can do. So, I've got to give Leftwich a pass because they had the number 1 offense last year. And injuries and offensive line are the issues. You got to point the finger at anybody this year right now, and I don't even like doing this because Jason Light's done a great job. Did they see the Ali Marpet thing coming? Not really. Maybe they should have been better, but they spent a 2nd-round pick on a guy that's a rookie, and it's going to take some time. The center position, I've said I thought they should have gone out and got a veteran center. And I don't know how much of this is on Robert Hainsey, but some of it definitely is.
I don't think the pass pro is like the worst part of the offensive line by any means, though. I think it's the run blocking. This offensive line, for whatever reason, just can't run block. And I know you're giving Leftwich a pass because he had the number 1 offense last year. But I've always made the argument, I think that's Brady, in my opinion, and just having those skill players because his offense is about the skill players getting open.
Right.
And they did their part. And I don't think his scheme gets anybody open at all. And I just always feel like it's Brady and the elite weapons that are doing this and overcoming Leftwich.
Yeah.
So, that's my feeling on it.
All right. We thank you for watching the JP Peterson Show each and every week, whether you're watching on Facebook, on Twitter, on our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube page. And we're brought to you by Emerging Investigation and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If your car has been totaled and you don't think you got enough money for it, well, that's a scam that most of the insurance companies run. And the Jeeves Law Group is onto it, and they do not want you to be represented by the Jeeves Law Group. That's the insurance companies, because when they see them coming, they know it's going to cost them. They will get you the settlement or take it to trial if they have to. So if you've had that issue, JeevesLawGroup.com. All right, let's bring in our good friend Scott Reynolds from the great Pewter Report, the Bible on all things Buccaneers, and we'll get his take on our poll question today. Good morning to you, Scott Reynolds. How are you, sir? Oh, we're having an audio.
There we go. How about that? Is that better? There we go. Okay. I'm doing better than Todd Bowles and these Buccaneers after that Sunday night game.
All right. So here's our Twitter question today. Through 4 games, Bowles is 2-2. How would you best describe your take on him? It's early. He's fine, getting 57%. He's in over his head, getting 9%. Better DC than HC, getting 31%. He will win the Super Bowl, getting 3%. I'm voting it's early. He's fine.
Yeah.
With the majority. How are you voting?
I'm voting the same way. I think he's fine. This schedule, the way it was set up, right? I think a lot of people said, okay, it's going to be tough to go 4-0.
Yeah.
it would be ideal to go 3-1, but you got to at least go 2-2, right? And that's where we are. We're at 2-2, and I don't think people necessarily thought that they would lose both home games back to back. And I think maybe that's a little bit of a concern, right? What if the Buccaneers had lost in Dallas, beat the Saints, lost to the Packers, and then beaten the Chiefs, right? That's still 2-2. You probably feel good because you have the immediate gratification of a win from Sunday Night Football, right? So, but at the same time, you're still at 2-2. And I was encouraged by what we saw from the offense, at least the passing game. That was the worst rushing attack. It wasn't even attack. I can't use that word. It was the worst rushing performance. Was that a performance? Not really.
Yeah.
The worst rushing attempt at running the ball ever in Buccaneer history. 3 yards, 6 carries. It was bad. Yeah, it was. Yeah. And I at least, I'm all for balanced attack, right? I mean, you saw the benefits of it from Kansas City. I mean, that's what the Bucs want to do. And Jamel Dean said it after the game. He said, hey, we couldn't stop the run. And when you can't stop the run, you can't stop the pass.
Right.
And you're back on your heels because you don't know if you're going to get a run or a pass on any down. And that just makes it so much harder to defend. Yep. Not to mention the running game keeps you on the field, right? There was almost a 2-1 time of possession advantage, right?
Yeah.
I think the only reason why they had a turnover was from Sean Murphy-Bunting is he was fresh off the bench, man. Yeah. Like everyone else was tired. They've been run over in that game. Yeah. And Sean Murphy-Bunting comes on the field. He's like, I'm going to go out here and play for Carlton Davis. I haven't done anything but special teams. I'm going to get a pick, right? And then he takes off down the sidelines. Everyone else is like, go score, Sean. Go for it, buddy. We've been trampled this game. So I think that's what ideally the Buccaneers want to do. I just don't think they have the horses to really run the ball for a couple of reasons. Number one, the personnel. Number two, I just think that this run game, there's a level of predictability to it. And I can't quite put my finger on like what it is about the Buccaneers run game that makes it so predictable.
Stale.
It is. But
is it just me, or did you remember, I'm old enough to remember the Cowboys game where we ran, I think, 4 jet sweeps. There were counter trays. I saw guards, centers pulling all over the place. There was so much movement in the running game, and it just evaporated. Where has that gone? I haven't seen.
Don't know. I don't know.
How do you not see that? Oh, damn, we had great success. That was our most balanced game.
Yeah.
And you never go back and you haven't called those plays since.
I know. And the other thing, too, that's just, curious is you look at the Chiefs attack, right? And I think that's the biggest thing is if you look at what Byron Leftwich does and his approach and his attack formations, personnel groupings, running out of this, passing out of that, everything, it was night and day. It looked like Pop Warner football from Tampa Bay and like NFL football from the Chiefs. I mean, it were Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, just the myriad of things they were doing, right? Just caught the Buccaneers off guard. They were guessing. They were flat-footed. It was a masterpiece, and it showed Buccaneer fans. I'm not saying what it should look like, but like that was a huge contrast. There was a huge contrast in styles there, and one team had 41 points, the other team had 31 points.
I likened it in terms of creativity to a Dolly painting versus a Hunter Biden original. I mean, one has multiple levels of brilliance that you can stare at for hours and hours and see different things and see different things coming, and you're just mesmerized by it. And the other one, you're like, yeah, okay.
You're like, what the hell is that, and why is there cocaine on it, right?
That's the first thing that came to mind. Yes. So, but it's a dramatic difference.
Yeah.
And you say, is that what the Bucs should be running? Is left, and you're like, well, you don't have an athletic quarterback that a lot of that stuff can be predicated on. But you need an athletic quarterback to run a jet sweep. You don't need an athletic quarterback to have a tight end run up behind the center on goal line and take a direct snap and fool everybody. There's a lot. There's just so much creativity to it. Maybe Brady doesn't like that. Maybe maybe he doesn't want to see that. I don't know what it is, but it was a dramatic contrast.
It was, I thought the best play call of the night was, I want to say maybe second or third down in the first series, the little slip screen to Leonard Fournette, right? I thought that was great play call, great timing. They brought the corner off the edge, right? I mean, you just perfect call against that particular blitz, that look. And Fournette really took it, I think, 20 yards or whatever he did. It was a big play.
Yep.
And I'll never forget asking Bruce Arians, who's no longer the coach, I get that, but he has a lot of influence in Byron Leftwich about, hey, I think, I can't remember what play it was. I think it was like an end around or something. And this was years ago. And I remember asking him, hey, why don't you run, why did you only run that one play? It was like 11-yard gain. It picked up a first down. And he's like, oh, you can't run the same play, in the same game. I mean, defenses are too smart.
What?
Okay. So I asked Jamel Dean after the game, I said, Jamel, did they do anything this week, right? Because you had a tough week to prepare, right? You're down there in Miami. You got family members. You got dogs in your hotel room. You got kids. You got wives. Everything, right? Yeah. Did they do anything really that was out of the ordinary to catch you guys off guard, or had you seen this on film? He's like, oh, we saw it on film, and they kept running it. Same thing. It's just over and over and over again. We couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, I don't know if and I'm going to ask Byron on Thursday. I'm like, how many times do you call the same play in a game? Right? Because here's the thing. If it works, try it again. It might work again. It just might.
There's a reason it worked,
Right.
So why not try to, that slip screen to Travis Kelce, and they were getting, and this is when I watched the tape, I was like, dang, that's a good call. They got 3 guys on 2 again. They got 3 guys on 2 again, 2 blockers out in front, and a guy running the ball on one small corner. Here comes a linebacker. And I thought more than anything, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy targeted the linebackers.
Yeah.
David and Devin White. And they
did not think they had a good game.
With those RPOs, I mean, you can just see it on the film. They've got it. He's like watching the FSU Wake Forest game. It was like 2 exact games.
Yeah.
When Patrick Mahomes sticks that ball in the belly, the linebackers have to sit there.
Yeah.
They sit there
shoot up,
or they
especially
shoot
Devin.
up. They were shooting up, and that leaves a huge hole behind you.
Devin's like a moth to a flame, man. He can't help it.
And it's like the safety. Then they run Kelce right in behind it.
Yeah.
Or whomever. That's an easy throw. It's pitch and catch, and that's a huge part of what they do.
Yeah, and I'll say this, right? See, for me, I focus on the running game because that 189 yards, that's the most rushing yards ever given up by a Todd Bowles defense in Tampa.
Yep.
And since 2019, the Atlanta Falcons are coming to town. Thankfully, Cordero Patterson, who's the 4th leading rusher in the NFL, is not going to suit up. But Tyler Algier from BYU, their rookie, he's a load, and he's a big running back. He's got some moves. You've got a very athletic quarterback in Marcus Mariota. They do a lot of quarterback run game with him. They do a lot of bootlegs, getting him outside the pocket. He's not a pocket passer. And the thing that I think Todd Bowles has to do this game that I thought he really screwed up with in terms of his play calls is he tried to do too much stunting. Yep. And so you had your outside linebackers, Barrett and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, stunting inside. Yep. And that left Will Golston, right? And Vita Vea and Nacho and Logan Hall a couple times on the outside. And it just makes it really easy for Patrick Mahomes to just run right around those big 300-some-pound guys and get to the edge of the defense. So to me, this is the game where you just straight up pass rush. If you want some interior pressure, then bring Devin, bring Levante, whatever. But it's a shame that Todd Bowles should have known better with a guy like Mahomes, who is not afraid to get outside the pocket and either make a dramatic run play for a first down or make a dramatic little underhanded toss or whatever he can do to pick up first downs. And so to me, when you've got athletes like Shaq Barrett and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, they got to stay outside. They've got to set the edge because they're the only guys that have any kind of speed to track Mahomes down to the sideline.
Great point.
You kind of mentioned a little bit the week of preparation. Do you think we almost undersold the hurricane and what it did affect this team, because we all kind of just brushed it off like, yeah, they'll be fine. And then I listened to your podcast, and you mentioned that you spoke to Rakeem Nunez-Roches.
Yeah.
And he said something very enlightening, and you said you kind of had to push it out of him, like, hey, I'm still recovering from the Green Bay game because I didn't have the week to rest.
Right.
I think that probably contributed to the defensive line basically being a no-show in this one.
Yeah, I think so. And trust me, nobody in that locker room wanted to use that as an excuse, right? Because the schedule's set. That game is played at 8:20 on Sunday night, whether it's in Minnesota because we're, being displaced because of the hurricane, or the fact that the hurricane went south that enabled the game to be in Tampa, whether they were in Tampa preparing or Miami, that was the game time. Yep. Now, where the rest and recovery comes in that's key. Your body can't rest until your mind rests. That's just how it is, right? Your body's not going to be recharged unless you sleep. You're not going to go to sleep if your mind's racing, right? Right. And so imagine this scenario. You go from your house, and if you're a football player, you probably have a nice house, right? Yeah. Nice big house, big bedroom for the wife. The kids are down the hall, right? Yeah. This is a situation where, you might have aunts and uncles next door in the room, right? You've got your wife, you've got 2 kids in the same room with you. You might have a dog or 2, right? Yeah. And you just came back from football practice, daddy, let's do this, let's watch Disney, whatever, right? And you've got, baby, what are we going to do for dinner tonight? You want to get room service? What are we going to do? And he's just like,
I got to work on a game, man. I got a game plan. I need to sleep. Get in the cold tub.
I was just in a car crash on Sunday against the Packers. A bunch of them. And I'm getting ready to be in a car crash on Sunday against the Chiefs. Because that's what a game of football is. It's being in a collision, an automobile collision, 17 times per year, almost in a row, except for one bye week. And so I think that yes, this team was tired. And trust me, when Rachaad White fumbled the ball, the Chiefs had momentum and they never gave it back. Yeah. And the Bucs didn't make a play to get that momentum back. And all of a sudden, here comes the run game. And all of a sudden, the bodies get tired and they get worn down. And I'm not saying, you can look at that as a reason or an excuse, whatever you want. Rakeem Nunez-Roches did not want to admit that. I had to coax it out of him. But he said, man, he said, I want to play these guys when we have a full week of rest and we're really prepared, because that was not our best effort by any means.
Maybe they'll play him with 2 weeks of rest. And you mentioned because Nick was at the game sitting in the upper deck, and the sound system was down almost the entire first quarter and maybe the half. And, I think fans have become so reliant on the cues from the audio to cheer third down,
right?
Other things. So it was like the crowd was totally out of the game, right?
Yeah, they were out of the game, and there was a pretty good amount of Chiefs fans there. And the Chiefs, they got the loudest fan base in the NFL.
They do.
Really. They brought it, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm from Kansas City, man. Arrowhead Stadium. Yeah. Everybody stands the whole game, and it's the closest to a college football game atmosphere as you're going to find anywhere in the NFL, maybe outside of Seattle.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think maybe that had a little part to play, and especially when you fumble the opening kickoff, it's just like
And you mentioned though you got to make plays still though, and I brought these 2 up yesterday of just examples of plays that you needed to make in that game because your defense couldn't stop anybody. And one is Levante David. I know that Mahomes threw a rocket, but it's right there.
Yeah.
Yep. You got to bring that in.
And
then another difference that I don't think many people brought up, but Brady, they brought that one corner blitz with Snead.
Yep.
He knocks the ball out of Brady's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Bucs do it with Mike Edwards, and this is on the blind side where Mahomes can't see him.
Right.
And Mike Edwards, I don't even think he really goes for the ball at all. And I just think in that, and I know these are little things, but I think that in that game where you can't stop anybody, those plays have to be made.
Yeah. And the other one too that was just a killer, and we put this picture up on our podcast yesterday. Cliff Welch, our photographer, had just an amazing picture of Carlton Davis draped all over Patrick Mahomes, okay? And his knee's not down, and Shaq Barrett is in the air like this, right? And it's a great example, and we talked about this yesterday on our podcast. Pressures are great, okay? I know there's a lot of analytics guys out there, pressures are that's even better than a sack. No, it's not.
No,
because if he was sacked right there, the Chiefs punt the ball. That's a prime example of two pressures on one play by two different Buccaneers. And guess what? 7-yard pass to Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah.
And it converts to third down. Now it's first down. They're on a touchdown drive.
And let's just be honest. That's if Jameis does that, some guys picking it and going the other way.
Yes,
and it could happen to Mahomes as well.
Right.
And that's an ill-advised play. Even that little flip over the top.
Right.
If Devin White gets a hand on that ball goes up in the air. There's 4 Buccaneers waiting to catch it, and you just turn the ball over at the goal line. Those are 2 plays right there that Mahomes makes that are 50-50 plays.
That's
and
right.
If on a night when you make those 2 plays, it's a different ball game. The Bucs probably win the game. In that sense.
They're certainly better positioned, right? Because that's a sack by Carlton Davis, and then it's a punt, and it should have been a sack. Yeah, exactly. Should have been a sack by Devin White on that play. Instead, it ends up being a 2-yard touchdown pass to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You got to credit the Chiefs, man. They came. Their offensive line just manhandled the Bucs defensive front. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Listen, the last time those two were at Raymond James Stadium was not a good time for them.
I know.
They were the defending Super Bowl champions. Kelce was subpar. Patrick Mahomes was subpar. And they lost the Super Bowl. And those two, more than anybody else, wanted this game, and you could just feel it. They were coming for blood. And on that second play from scrimmage, Kelce scores the touchdown. It's just kind of like, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, that was, I think, a noticeable difference. I thought the Chiefs had way more intensity than the Buccaneers.
Yeah, they wanted it.
Anything, look, because I said about the Hurricane, look, the Bucs got all their practices in. They got all their meetings in. But I think your point on rest is a good one.
Yeah.
And that's where, and it looked like there was one team that was fired up and rested and ready to go. And the other team was just kind of, hanging on for dear life.
That's right. Hanging on. JP, if Rachaad White returns that ball to the 27-yard line and Tom Brady marches the Bucs down the field and Chris Godwin or Mike Evans score a touchdown and the Bucs are up 7-0, it might be a different outcome. But the fact that was such a deflating moment, and then two plays later, this is a Bucs defense that was the league leader in scoring defense. All of a sudden, 2 plays and they got 7 points on the board, and now it's a 3-and-out for the Bucs offense. And here we go. It just snowballed, and there wasn't enough energy from this tired team to finish and win. And sometimes momentum makes a difference. How many times back in the Dungy Ball days, right, when it's a hot day at Ray J, and it's, almost like that Packers game, right? Like a 14-12 type game with Brett Favre and, on one side and Warren Sapp on the other. And it just, the crowd just, all of a sudden, here comes a big 3rd down play. Warren Sapp gets a sack on Favre, and they got a punt. And now all of a sudden, Allstott gets the ball and they finish it with a 4-minute drive and they win. But it's that energy, that momentum. Those are things that, like, the analytics world can't measure. And I think that really gets a lot of like analytics people kind of in a knot. And I'm not knocking analytics. It is. Momentum is huge. Grit, toughness,
emotion, energy.
Yes. You can't measure it. And so I think because sometimes that kind of thing is not measured, it's dismissed. And momentum is real, man. It is absolutely real. Turnovers, big plays, they can change the momentum, really fast. And momentum can help you win games. And I think that early momentum right there, the Chiefs just never gave it back.
Scott Reynolds, Pewter Report, joining us here. All right, so as we turned our attention to the Falcons, and as you mentioned, Cordell Patterson on injured reserve. He's been their bell cow running back, but they, this is more than just him. Arthur Smith, he knows the running game. Obviously, with Derrick Henry, he had Horse in Tennessee. I still think they'll be able to run the football. They're very multiple, like you said against Mariota. This is going to be a very different game.
It is.
I think Mariota completed 8 passes last week. But you got to man up, and you got to, the Falcons are going to come at you, and they're better than people think. There's no question about that. So
as much as I want to see the Bucs defense rebound, and I think this is a huge ego blow. This is a huge pride thing for that Bucs defense. Not just to give up 41 points or lose to Mahomes, but lose the way they did it. They couldn't stop the run. And I believe that this is a game where the Bucs offense has to save the day. What I mean by that is force Marcus Mariota to throw the ball. Force them. They're not going to abandon the run. It's too much a part of what they do. It's too much of their identity. But you gotta force Mariota to put the ball in the air 25 times, right? Because he doesn't want to. They don't want him to. And so I think the best thing Tampa Bay can do, win the coin toss, get the ball, have Brady drive them through the air, down the field, 7 points, defense get a stop, boom, 7 more points. Now it's 14-0, right? And now the Bucs are rolling. And then this is the game where the offense has got to click. You got to put up points, touchdowns, not field goals. Make this the blowout that it usually is between the Bucs and the Falcons at Ray J. It's usually close up there, but down here it's been kind of a lopsided thing, and that's what has to happen. If the offense doesn't show up for this one, the Bucs are going to get run on a little bit. They just are, and I think that you talk about complementary football. The offense has got to come out hot. And as much as I want to see the running game come back to life, throw to set up the run, not the other way around. I think Byron Leftwich still has that. We're going to establish the run, then we're going to throw. No, throw the ball to establish the run, in my opinion.
Right. And on that note, is Julio a bust? And can you really count on him the rest of the way? I mean, are the Bucs saying, maybe we put too much into this? Look, I want to give him a shot. We saw in training camp was really
I know
good.
He dominated some days, man. He was just dominant.
God. And so, but man, he is just not for 3 years now, for 2+ years. He has not answered the bell, and I'm wondering if there's just the fire is gone in this cat.
Well, there's Julio, who's 33, right? We saw Cole Beasley trip over his own feet
multiple times.
Okay, he's 33. You've got Akeem Hicks, who's 32, and he's shelved right now. Yeah. And Kyle Rudolph can't even see the field. He's just not. The Bucs have just said you're not as good as Cam Brate. So now we have to play you because Cam Brate's out with a concussion. But sometimes when you go after these aging veterans, it can help you. And it helped the Buccaneers in 2002. John Gruden had a whole bunch of them. Ken Dilger, Ricky Dudley, and Keenan McCardell, and Roman Omen, Kerry Jenkins. They had enough gas in the tank. These guys don't have enough gas in the tank. It listed Jason Light, Antonio Brown in 2020 had enough gas in the tank. Rob Gronkowski last 2 years had enough gas in the tank. But you don't know. Yeah, you don't know when you're going to run out of gas. And I think right now the Buccaneers got some guys that have just run out of gas. And it's unfortunate because they went all in thinking we're going to go with these veterans and some of them are still young, right? I mean, you got a guy like Keanu Neal.
I hope they can stay healthy.
That's right.
And so far, Akeem Hicks and we've lost on him, and we've lost on Kyle Rudolph, and we've lost on not to say that they're busts and they can't come back and play.
It's still early. And you know what? I haven't been terribly impressed with Shaq Mason, to be honest. I thought he would be more of a difference maker in the run game.
Well, that Rashad White touchdown, he absolutely just collapsed that.
He did. That was
a part, and worse,
fantastic play.
The defensive tackle. Yeah. So, I mean, I think Shaq's been okay, but I think for the most part, these veterans that we brought in are not like the crop we've had the past couple of years.
Correct.
It doesn't help, too, that Russell Gage was the one younger guy you bring in.
Yeah.
And I hate this. I just think that this hamstring thing, I feel like he's always kind of pulling up and he looks a little ginger. Yeah. Do you think it's just something that you're just going to have to deal with all year and it kind of just takes away his explosive? He's not a $10 million receiver now.
No, he's not. He's not even $1 million receiver. I think he's averaging 7 yards per catch. I mean, that is so pedestrian, And you're right. He's a smaller guy, right? 5'10", about a $180. So maybe he's 6 foot, $180, but he's not a very imposing guy by any means. Nor is he a blazer. So he's a guy that has to kind of get by on quickness, and I just think the quickness has been sapped from him, and he's just kind of a pedestrian guy right now. I mean, I shouldn't say we. I called this group the Fantastic Four. It really is just whittled down to the dynamic duo. It's just Mike Evans and Chris Godwin at this point in time. right? There's no Fantastic Four
We
anymore.
need a recast of the movie.
We do, yeah.
We're not allowed to.
We just need to, go to the editing room and just cut a couple guys out and just, reframe it as it's Mike and Chris again, right? That's
we got to go get OBJ and TJ Hockenstein instead. Whatever. Yeah. Good God. Yeah, it's not been good. All right, my friends, always great to catch up with you. Tell the folks what you got coming up on Pewter Report this week.
Tomorrow is another edition of the Pewter Report podcast, and we do those live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the week. And then, of course, we have our Pewter Report tailgate show that kicks off at walk-ons.
Right in promo time. Say that again. You got a little Wi-Fi glitch there.
Sure, no worries. So
he's frozen right now.
He's frozen.
Yeah.
Am I frozen?
He's frozen.
I can hear you.
He's on the frozen tundra. There he is. You're back.
Okay, I'm back. All right.
Start again.
Well, we've got our Pewter Report podcast coming out tomorrow at 4 p.m. That's Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And you can find that on Pewter Report TV, which is our YouTube channel. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report, as well as pewterreport.com, our website where all the Buccaneer content is.
All right, my friend. Good stuff as always, Scotty. We'll see you around $1 here this week. Thanks, partner.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Great, Scott Reynolds, because the Pewter Report people are always there, blanketing $1 place. All right, our thanks to our great sponsors here today, Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. If you have any legal questions or especially about personal injury, they do a lot of different things over there at the Jeeves Law Group. Go to the website, jeeveslawgroup.com, and you will find out more information there. Also, Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com is their website, Tampa Bay's #1 private detective agency. All right, we will take a break. Coming up in our 11 o'clock hour, TJ Rives will join us. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Rays baseball as they get set to take on the Cleveland in Guardians. Still can't say that. We have those guys. When we come back, stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted. Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call? 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing, constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. TJ Rives is going to join us at 11:15. Also, I'll tell you our second hour is brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Have you been thinking about testosterone therapy? I've been on it for probably 7 years now. And I can tell you, it is an absolute game changer. It will change your outlook emotionally. It will change your body. It will change your sleeping habits. It will change everything for the positive, because when you have low T, and survey says that over 60% of men have low T. If you're older, that goes up to about 75 or 80% here in America. So you probably have low T, and it's unnatural, folks. So a lot of people think, well, that's not natural, injecting yourself with testosterone. Well, it's unnatural for you to lose it at the ages and to the levels that we're losing it. And it happens because of all the pollution that's in our society, all the chemicals that are in our food, stress. There's a lot of different things that can cause this. So go find out and then get it corrected at BAMMC.com. Christopher Lugo, we're going to have him on this month to talk about some of the myths about testosterone replacement therapy and hormone therapy, and plus all the different science that has gone into it over the years. And we know a lot more now on how to do it and what's the best way to do it and what's the safest way to do it. So we'll have him on to talk about that. But if you're interested, just give him a call over there at BAMMC.com. That's BAMMC.com. All right. So the Rays are in. These games with Boston are meaningless except to set yourself up for the playoffs, which I saw. I'm trying to find it here. I saw where ESPN was promoting Cleveland playing at 4:00 on Friday. And obviously the Rays are going to play Cleveland. Have you seen a positive schedule out or yet? Because at this point, I'm not seeing it on the Rays website or anywhere else.
Yeah, I have not seen a definitive schedule. I don't know if they come out with that after the season ends, but there's been nothing listed on my end here.
All right.
Of what I think. I just know that we're going to play on Friday at some point.
Okay, so they're going to play on Friday, and it looks like McClanahan's going to start on Friday. Glasnow, who was really, really good last night, I would say struggled a little bit in the first inning, but was really, really good. Got 7 strikeouts, went 3 2/3.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
all I need to see is the stuff.
Yeah,
That's really all I
fantastic.
care about.
The stuff is really good.
He'll get better command as he gets more under his belt, and maybe he only have one left, honestly. But I mean, he was really excited and jacked up the fact that he's even back right now and gets to play and gets to pitch in the postseason in Game 2. I mean, that's a huge lift.
Yes, it is.
You have to acknowledge that. I mean, I love what the Rays have with McClanahan, Rasmussen, and Springs, but to put Glasnow in that situation, this guy who's pitched in the World Series, got that experience. He's very excited. He adds a new element there.
So who do you start in those 3 games? You go Shane.
You go Shane, Glasnow, and then game 3 is interesting because they have Rasmussen slated to go tomorrow night. If you go with Rasmussen tomorrow night to end the season, which I don't see much sense in that kind of takes him out of Sunday, doesn't it? Kind of.
Yeah,
or at least
on
limits
Wednesday,
him.
Thursday, Friday,
unless
Saturday,
you do
Sunday.
like a Rasmussen Springs type
opener.
thing. But I think they might do Springs along next to Glasnow maybe, because Glasnow's not going to pitch long,
right?
And you never know what's going to happen. I think they might be saving Springs for that one, so maybe we get shorter outings from these 2 guys the next 2 days. Corey Kluber, I don't know if he's going to make the postseason roster, to be honest with you, because I think he was brought in, and we talked a lot about Corey Kluber being the Morton of this staff. I think he's kind of he's hit a little
run
wall.
out of gas.
Talk about guys run out of gas a little bit.
He's run out of gas.
He
was really good. And then for about the past month and a half, he's been
and it's always
the
one
breaking
inning
stuff just doesn't have that.
No, and
crisp.
it's always one inning for him.
Yeah,
it's always one inning, and the problem with that is you can have one bad inning in the playoffs.
You're done, especially with this offense.
It's done.
So with the Rays offense, you can't afford to have a bad inning.
No.
You just can't. They're not going to win. They're just. I mean, last night Manuel Margot hit his first home run since May 8th.
Crazy.
May 8th, brah. Holy hell! 63 games. It's not like he's played all year. He was out for 2.5 months, but that's 241 at bats, 63 games. He hasn't hit a home run, and Wander hit his first since July 2nd. So the good news is we're getting hot. Bad news is these guys just don't hit a whole lot of home runs, and you need to hit home runs in the postseason to survive.
Hey, we do have that Wander Franco home run here.
Oh, do we? Listen to this though. This was nice. He got all of that one, no doubt about it, and got him out to an early lead over the monster.
Yeah, let's get our new technology working here.
Yeah.
And he shoots this one deep down the left side. Is it going to be fair? That is fair and gone. Home run for Wander Franco down that left field line with plenty under it. The question was fair or foul, and that ball clearly fair. 6th home run of the year for Wander Franco.
That was a blast. And as was Manuel Margot's. That also went out of the stadium over to Monster.
Yeah, finally got to Richo a little bit, but I couldn't hang on. But again, these are like spring training games at this point.
Yeah, they are.
They really, like I said, all I needed to see, it was good to see Wander Franco get his first home run since July 2nd. That was prior to the first one since he had that hamate injury or whatever, in his hand or whatever.
Yeah.
So good to see that. Good to see Margot, and good to see Glasnow. I think that's all I needed to see from this, win or loss, whatever. They'll be ready to go on Friday. But yes, that we do have our concerns, because you want to be playing some good baseball going in. And right now the Rays, you had the numbers there. The offense, another night with 5 hits last night.
5 hits.
And how many?
That's 6. That's 6. Well, they had gone 4 out of 5 and 6 out of 8, 1 run or less, and then yesterday exploded for 3. So and you got to believe that G-Man Choi, I don't know if he makes the postseason roster. I'd rather start Aranda at first base, to be honest with you.
I tell you what, I don't think he is, because versatility is really important in the playoffs. G-Man Choi, there's nowhere else you can put him. The Rays have some options. Like they could put Paredes over there. They can roll it with Aranda if they want to.
Yep.
I tell you a guy who they have an option of putting on this roster. He hasn't played in a while, but it wouldn't surprise me because of the versatility, and that's a guy like Roman Quinn. He's still around, actually, and he's an option. I know it sounds crazy to just throw it out there, but you kind of value those versatility, a guy that can get on the base paths and steal some bases for you. I don't think it's out of the equation. He gets on this roster somehow. So we'll see with that. But G-Man Choi,
anybody on the farm at the AAA champion Durham Bulls that could add some pop?
It's a little late for Mr. Lowe, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
They got this guy Miles Masterboni that's gotten a cup of coffee here. I don't know if he'll make the roster, but
they need offense. They need to find offense. What's Freddie Freeman doing? They need that. They just got to find some offense. All right. Hey, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, TJ Rives is going to join us, and we'll talk some more Buccaneer football as the Bucs get set to welcome in the Atlanta Falcons, who have been a bit of a surprise this year. So we'll talk a little bit about the Chiefs game, and who knows with TJ. I'm sure he's got a story about something. So we will chat with TJ when we come back.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your... JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Golden Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center for testosterone therapy and general practitioners. You need a new general practitioner, then that's a great place to go. BAMMC.com. Also, Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com, the sponsors of our Gator Report each and every week with Scott Carter, Thursdays at 11 o'clock. If you have any questions about getting settlements from your insurance company or personal injury, if you had an accident, Jeeves Law Group is the place to go, JeevesLawGroup.com. All right, let's welcome in our Bucs sideline guy, the great TJ Rives, joining us this morning, sporting his that's a Memphis Tigers hat.
Very nice. I didn't even have to prompt you. Very nice. The 4-1 Memphis Tigers taking on the Houston Cougars. I am in the positive, let's look ahead mood here on all things, including Memphis looking ahead to this week. Buccaneers looking ahead this week. Need the Rays to get on track in Fenway before they play in the playoffs this week. We're all about the positive, JP. We're all about moving forward, aren't we?
Yes, of course we are. But, of course, we'll have to ask you about the Chiefs. let you get away with that easily.
I figured.
You know, I was going to ask you. A lot of people are making a kind of a big deal about this, that the sound system was out early on in the game. You were down on the field, we've become so conditioned for the things that go up on the scoreboard to prompt us when to cheer on third down and everything else. So I'm wondering if that took the crowd out of it. I don't know if as much as the Rashad White fumble 2 plays later, Travis Kelce's in the end zone probably had a little bit more to do with that, but because it seemed like the place was jacked up for Sunday Night Football, Mahomes versus Brady, and then it kind of went.
Well, you're right. On all levels, it did, from the fumble, then they scored, and the sound system, and the whole thing. And there were issues. Everybody doesn't have to know all the details. There were issues across the board with the internet and with the ability to do the PA and the music, press box, all of it. So there were problems at the beginning of the game, and then there were problems on the kickoff return that compounded all of it. So I've gone back, and I could only, Nick will laugh at me, I could only stomach watching like the first half. I've only watched the first half and going back and seeing what everybody else sees. And keep in mind, again, I'm privileged to be down where I am, but I don't see the same game you guys see as watching on TV with multiple replays, and they do such a fantastic job of showing you exactly what went into this play or that play. I don't get to see that. So it's good for me at times to go back and watch and see what everybody else has seen. And everybody keeps saying, is it time to hit the panic button? No, it's not time to hit the panic button. I come at it from a couple of different reasons for that. Number one, Kansas City's an elite team. Kansas City is arguably the best team in the AFC. They are the best team in the AFC over the last 3 years. You guys would agree with that. Yep. You can maybe make the argument right now that Buffalo is the best team right now in the AFC. I saw you nod, maybe not. You shook your head, no, maybe not. But my point is, losing to the Chiefs, who are really good, even decisively, doesn't mean your season is over in that one game sample. Just like, by the way, in 2020, when you lost decisively to them, and at that point you were 7-5, and a lot of people writing you off, your season was not over. You got a long way to go here. Tough pill to swallow the other night. Tough on national TV when you were looking to have a big performance, a big night, to have that happen. But I understand better why it did happen. And a lot of it was up front on both sides of the ball. And you got to give Kansas City a lot of credit.
Yeah, and I kind of said this yesterday. This is it's a very humbling game. You can be in the penthouse one week and the outhouse the next week. Teams, players, coaches, all of it. And you can't get too over. I mean, look, the Chiefs lost to the freaking Colts the week before.
That's correct.
They came back and they were intent on playing their best game. Maybe they were looking ahead to this game with the Buccaneers, which clearly they had circled on their calendar, and they were ready. They played with more intensity, and I think you probably saw that at your level. Maybe to me, the Hurricane, a lot of people talking about this, they got their meetings in. They got all their practices in, but as Nick pointed out, what they didn't get in was their normal rest. And that looked like a tired team at times. And it was, especially when you start flat like that, and then now you don't have your full week of rest. I'm not making excuses. These are reasons.
Right.
But it certainly showed. It seemed to me that Kansas City team was jacked up and energized and had the momentum from early on, and it was just an uphill slog for the Bucs most of the way.
They did not respond well to the adversity, and you can put that on routine being altered as it was. You can put it on any number of things. Now, Todd Bowles wanted no part of that with the media. You were in the press conference stuff, and with our interview on Buccaneers Radio, he wanted no part of that. They're not going to use that as an excuse, but clearly it was different. Dave Moore told us a story just real quick. I know you love the stories.
I love the story.
That during, remember, 2004, and we had not one, not two, not three, but 4 different hurricanes that touched the state, impacted the state, and all of them, by the way, ended up coming through Polk County at one point or another. Yeah. Polk County, unfortunately, hit for the cycle on the hurricanes that year. So Dave was telling the story about Hurricane Charlie because it was supposed to hit the Tampa Bay area. Same kind of track. So they're over in Orlando. He had come back to the Bucs as a free agent. So this was the first time he had been in training camp in Orlando, not at the University of Tampa. He had been with the Bills the previous 2 years, 2002 and 2003, when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, and then the 2003 season after that. So now he's there, the players are there, and he's talking to his wife, and both of Dave's kids are little. Mike's talking to his wife. His kids are little. They both live in St. Pete, and they're telling John Gruden, we have got to leave and go secure our stuff and go get our wives and our kids. We got to get out of here. So Dave said he and Allstott did the best they could to navigate I-4 coming back west to St. Pete. It took them like 2 hours because of the evacuations and what was happening. He said, we got there. It took like 4 or 5 hours for he and I, we were coordinating because we were going to go back together to secure families, documents, boats, pets, all of it. Get back in the car, and we drive all the way back to Orlando, and Hurricane Charlie ends up roaring right through Orlando anyway, where we're all in a shelter at the Celebration Hotel, worried if it's going to hit us. And he said, that screwed us up, I'm paraphrasing, for like 3 or 4 days of doing that whole back and forth as an example. So just to illuminate the point that just because you were able with modern technology and all of that and the flight to move everything, you still had to move everything and you still had to get people back. Not making an excuse. The Chiefs were better. They were more physical, but that was definitely part of what you saw the other night. The routine was not normal.
No question about it. TJ Reeves joining us here. I look at this offensive line and I try to extrapolate things. I don't just look at games and results. You got to look further than that to kind of get a feel for how this team is going to perform down the rest of the way. To me, if I had an order of concerns, I'd go offensive line because the running game is stagnant. They can't move anybody up front except Wirfs and Shaq Mason at times. So I just, and I think Donovan's still hurt. So he's not playing at 100%. To me, that's the biggest concern right now. But I do think guys get better. Gedicke's going to get better. I mean, Hainsey's going to get better. Donovan Smith will hopefully get healthy. So I have concerns there, but I'm hopeful. What are your thoughts about the offensive line?
So that's a big discussion right now. And so there's a couple of obviously they didn't do a good enough job of establishing the run. And Byron Leftwich with the play calling, and Tom Brady, whether he audibled out of some run calls. This is another important thing that we love to illuminate here on the FanStream JP show.
Right.
We don't know. You and I don't know, and any other observers don't know, and any other keyboard warriors that are going after Byron Leftwich's play calling, I'm saying that playfully, they don't know what was the play call originally in the huddle. And you can hear several different times on the NBC audio and even our network audio for Buccaneers Radio Network, you can hear when plays are being changed at the line of scrimmage. The technology is so good with the audio now. There were probably a couple of times in that first half where they had a run play called, and he saw a defense that's going to destroy that run play if they run right at it. And so he checked out of the run play. So just because I'm not making excuses, I'm just pointing out to people, just because you saw a pass play, a short pass, doesn't mean that there wasn't a run play called in the huddle, and they didn't have 2 plays called in the huddle and switch to another one. Clearly, they did not run it enough. They did not run it effectively. To your point about Gedicke, that was his 4th game the other night. That was Robert Hainsey's 4th game. You got Donovan Smith back. You're about to play lesser opposition, including the Steelers. In terms of defense, the Steelers have been pushed around. The Falcons have been pushed around. The Panthers are not good on defense. Theoretically, if you stick with the run game, you should be able to run the ball better against these teams that you're about to play. And let's see if they do. Let's see if it looks better, because clearly the other night they got away from it, and then they're behind 21-3. They're behind 28-17, 31-17. You're not going to be running the ball that much once that happens.
And in the passing game, too, I brought this point up a little earlier. A lot of what the Bucs did this offseason, they saw what happened last year when they had injuries to that position and having to get Tyler Johnson in there, the Scotty Millers, Perrimans, Graysons, all that stuff. And it didn't work out, right? And they brought in Russell Gage, Julio Jones, now Cole Beasley. And I'm looking at it. I don't know what you're getting out of Julio Jones the rest of the season. It's like a week-to-week thing with him. I just don't know. And Russell Gage now, it's probably going to be every single week he's dealing with this hamstring thing, and he looks like he's lost some of this burst. I mean, that's $38 million they invested in Russell Gage and Julio Jones to have this big 4, and now it seems like it's dwindled back down to Evans and Godwin again. How much of a problem do you see there going forward?
So that's a great concern, and I know this. The issue with Julio, at least in the short term, is swelling involving that knee, even though And Todd Bowles said as much to the media and to us, and that is something that you have to play through and or deal with. And I don't know in the second half of that game if it just began to affect him to the point where they weren't using him anymore because of that. Again, this is more for the coach to speak to. The personnel groups they were using, maybe that doesn't include Julio when they're doing the hurry up, et cetera, as much, which they were trying to do some of in comeback mode. So that's a great question. And again, with Gage, clearly not 100%. You're right. So how much healthier can he get while the season's going on? Because you don't have a bye week all the way until after the Germany game in November. How much healthier can he get trying to play on it? But you've got Rashard Perriman, who wasn't healthy again last week. And I'm just going to go back to the larger point here, not to deflect off of what you're saying, but I think this adds to it. When you don't have full contact in training camp practices and guys aren't playing in preseason games, what you're now seeing in the regular season is bumps, bruises, pulls, swelling, problems that you normally are dealing with in July and August and playing through and figuring out. And now you get it in the regular season for the first month of the regular season. The Bucs are having to deal, obviously, with some of that. But this is a different offense just with Evans and Godwin there as targets. And you saw that the other night and what it takes. The defense now has to account for them. And even with the defense double teaming Evans, you saw him still making plays. So it's going to help the other guys, whoever those other guys are, to have Evans and Godwin back. And let's hope Julio and Gage get healthier and can contribute right now. There's real concern. And we said this on your show, that Julio Jones was injured in Tennessee. He was injured at the end of his Atlanta career, and that you're almost looking at this as bonus. Whatever you can get from him is a bonus right now. Let's hope that you can get some more out of him. But he was a non-factor in Nashville last year because of injuries. Yep. That's why they didn't re-sign him and bring him back.
Yeah, we were hoping from what we saw in training camp that this would be different, but you can't. Maybe there will be a stretch where he gets loose, and if it's a torn PCL, he's going to need to rest a little bit more. They said he couldn't get loose at halftime, and that's why he didn't play. I'm still hopeful at some point we'll see that whole dynamic out there. But until then, it's, Russell Gage, we paid him a lot of money and he needs to step up, and he did against Green Bay. Let's give him credit. Evans was back. Godwin's back. They're going to get their target. So having three guys like that, even if Julio can't go, should be enough. But now with Cam Brate down, my friend, I was waiting to get my question into Tom, and they cut me off right at the end because I was going to say, hey, you're down another tight end. Anybody available? Anybody come to mind might be out there? Maybe make a call or two. Because at this point, what's going on with Gronk? How can he sit here and look at this gaping hole of his best friend who gave him his entire freaking life, and just your man is struggling? Come on, Gronk, what are you doing? How many
We're on the same train. I keep saying it. You keep saying it. I will believe when we get to the end of this month and Halloween and Gronk is not playing, I will believe the retirement much more. But I may not even believe it fully then, because he could still show up like Superman with the cape in November, I guess.
If not
clearly he misses him, but who wouldn't miss him with the productivity that guy has had? He's amazing. He's talented. They have high hopes for Cade Otton to be able to go out and make some plays and be able to go down the field and run in combination with Brady. And it was a little better the other night. Let's hope that Cam Brate clears the concussion protocol and is healthier. We want him to be healthy, but Otton is a guy that can help you, but they are not Gronk. And maybe we just have to accept, maybe it's an acceptance Tuesday. Maybe we have to accept he's not going to come back, but I'm still holding out. Let's wait and see as October rolls on here, that we don't suddenly get news that he's going to try it and try to be back.
That would be, man, that would just be fantastic. All right. Hey, it is, I know you love your baseball, bro.
Yes.
Your Rays are going into the playoffs. I am not encouraged at all. This offense is awful. This is like mid 84 Buccaneer offense. Awful. I don't see how you can possibly, and if it wasn't for this expanded format, this would not be a playoff year. This would be a mediocre team who made a lot of bad decisions in terms of their offense, and the season would end. But hey, we're in the playoffs. Woo! Right. I don't know. I'm not really.
They
encouraged.
And the Mariners in for the first time in 21 years are benefiting from the second and the third wild card and more playoff teams. And I don't know. I mean, I talked to I got a couple people that are hardcore, and one of them said, "Hey, I love the matchup with the Guardians in a quick 3-game series. Got to win 2 of them to put the pressure on them." I don't know. I can't speak to that, but clearly they're laboring at the end here. I ran into Rich Hollenberg and Doug Wechter, media colleagues, and obviously Wechter, I think you saw him too. Wechter obviously played the game, and I said, "Is there hope that they can play?" He said, "Of course there's hope that they can pull out of it, but clearly you're playing poorly, pitching poorly, etc. at the worst possible time to win a short series."
Right.
Then again, you tee up McClanahan and Tyler Glasnow as a 1-2 or some combination off of one of those guys, you may be able to get a short series win.
Yeah.
A best of 3, even on the road.
Win Friday and Saturday 2-1, and let's move on.
Well, and look, so is it set that they're on the track to play Cleveland, or is that still in play the next 2 days where they could play Toronto? Is it pretty well set?
It's set. They're going to play Cleveland, right? We're locked into Cleveland. I'm pretty sure. If it's not, they'll tank it so it is. They would have to actually win a game to move up. But I think it's set. I think they're going to play Cleveland. I think it's going to start on Friday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You got 3 games.
And then the track is that they would play the Yankees, whoever wins that series.
Right.
Because somebody was making the point to me that instead of playing Toronto and Houston for your reward of beating Toronto, if you were able to beat them, you'd much rather take playing Cleveland and then have a shot at a team that you've had a ton of success against, the Yankees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And who's to say, can they win a short series with the Guardians? Of course they can. Can they win it with the Yankees? Of course they can. But I mean, if you're handicapping this and looking at an offense that has just absolutely gone completely, I mean, 4 out of the last 5, 6 out of 8 going into yesterday's game, they'd scored 1 run or less. Let me repeat that. 1 run or less. Okay, like that's not cold. That's 20.
You're saying one more run than you, me, and Nick scored in those games.
Yeah, so not good. And you just look at the lineup, and it's not good. But we have hope. There is hope, my friend.
There's October baseball, and strange things happen in October. You know what I go back to, because I keep having these Red Sox honks remind me of everything, is the Rays had the best record in the American League and had home field advantage, and Boston came right in and won, game 1 and game 2 in that 5-game series. They won at least game 1, and I think they won both of them in the first 2 games. So you never know. They won at least the first one, I know. And they won the series, I think, in 4. They won it in Fenway in 4. Yeah. So you never know in these short series what can happen real quick, bam, bam, with a couple of arms that can maybe shut the other team down and something crazy happens. So, hey, it's better than not having postseason baseball. The Rays are once again there, so we'd rather have that. Yeah.
That is true. Any college football notes you got for me besides your Memphis Tigers?
Memphis Tigers, I might have mentioned, have won 4 games in a row, play Houston Friday. You might be interested that I am headed to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, along with Tiki Barber to call the Alabama-Texas A&M game on national radio coming Saturday night from T-Town. Might there be a little bit of venom and a little bit of interest in that game? Some of the luster is off of it because A&M lost to Mississippi State last weekend, which, by the way, can we bring up so again, that'll be on Compass Media. I'll send you guys a link. Compass Media Networks and their affiliates. I'm not sure if there's one here in the Bay Area, but I'll be on the national call with Tiki, and we're looking forward to that. Alabama and A&M. Did you see Mike Leach on the field after the game and the internet meme with our buddy Trevor Siekma of formerly a Pewter Report, who's now with the Draft Network, and Alyssa Lang of the SEC Network? Yes. That was Leach at his best, just gold. And those that didn't see it, you guys may have played it. He's giving them wedding advice on elope. Go and just get it over with. He said the women in your life are going to terrorize you. He's telling Alyssa Lang, but they'll get over it. Just go elope, save the money. Then he's saying, I paid one of my own kids $10,000. Just go take care of it. Go elope.
He offered it to his daughters.
Yes.
None of them took it up.
He's offering it to him. And then he's saying, Trevor, what's his name? Trevor, you need to do this. You need to go take the advice. Oh, it was tremendous.
First of all, he goes, first of all, keep it on the down low.
Well, you can't keep it on the down low if he's talking about it on national TV.
Screwed that up. I love that guy.
By the way,
So
just while we
going to be on a production call with Jimbo and Nick this week?
Allegedly, there is something coming. I don't know if we're on with both of them, but I think there's a media call this morning, or maybe here at lunchtime with Jimbo. So that'll be interesting. By the way, I don't know that I've ever shared this. Mrs. Rives and I have been married for 26 years. Mm-hmm. And there were two different opportunities where we talked about eloping. And her response to me is, my mother would kill me if we did that. Okay. But then as things got amped up and we're getting ready to get married in downtown St. Pete, and on 2 days before the wedding, this was not the day before the wedding, this was 2 days before the wedding, we're in downtown St. Pete at the city hall at the county clerk's office for Pinellas County or whatever, and we're doing the marriage license. And the woman says to both of us, "Hey, do you want to go ahead and get married right now?" And I looked at Jennifer. She goes, "We have a chaplain and a notary right next door. Do you want to go get married right now?" And I looked at her like, can we just put all of the drama aside or whatever and just go do this right now and leave for the honeymoon?
You got the upsell?
I seriously contemplated it, standing right there in the St. Pete courthouse, that city hall building, doing the elope thing. All I'm saying is 25 years later, I can identify with what Coach Leach was saying to Alyssa Lang on that clip about eloping.
Me right now.
Yeah.
I'm
is it looking attractive to Nick? Same kind of thing?
It's the wedding planning stage right now. Deep into it, like deep into it. He's gone. He's toured.
So have you had the conversation privately? Are you willing to reveal that on FanStream, JP? What about option B here? Like 2 plays in the huddle, not unlike Tom Brady coming to the line of scrimmage, 2 plays in a huddle.
I brought it up last week actually about to be honest with you.
And how was it received?
It was a no. It was
a flat no.
But here's how it goes, though.
It was not even a hesitation. No hesitation.
No hesitation. But here's how life works, though, and you'll all be able to sympathize with this. When we first got engaged, she wanted to elope. That's what she wanted to do. We don't need to pay all this money, all this stuff. Now we're all
that moment.
Now after we're all in
Did
this,
you remind her of this upon your proposal last week?
Yes, I did.
And how did that get received?
It did not go over well. I never said that. I never said that.
Oh, I need the progressive box. This is the progressive has come up with the greatest commercials ever.
No,
it's like, I got a challenge left, and you can go back and rewind the video. And would you love to have that? You'd be like,
you're saying to your fiance, you brought this up, and now you're rebuffing it. But yes, I understand. There's plans made. There's monies. There's deposits that have already been put down, probably non-refundable deposits, right? So I understand that that's part of the deal.
Way too far. Listen, I've dipped my feet literally in water for engagement picture. I'm way too deep.
Oh yeah, he's got
I'm done.
Hold on. I would after we totaled up, I think, because when I got married, we had probably had 10 to 15 of her relatives come over from Ireland.
Right.
So when
I remember. I remember.
So when we added up all the money, I mean, I spent on the wedding, it had to be $150,000. I'm thinking
you were basically working for free that year at Channel 8.
But I mean, give me. Let's take this. Let's take 75 and elope. I mean, first of all, think of that honeymoon and go like, that's going to be one hell of a freaking. One of those huts on the water out in Bali or some crap. And it's just going to be the best thing ever. And then you don't have to worry about all the planning and all the BS, all the everything. I mean, Mike Leach is 100% correct. That whole way you're going through it, that whole wedding.
I understand.
Industry, I mean, it's just I want to. How'd you get the upsell at the clerk's office? The clerk's office, like, hey, we got a chaplain and right over here
and a notary right here. We can go get married right next door. And I looked just like this. I looked right at her, like, are we on? 2 plays in the huddle, Nick. Got to have 2 plays in a huddle here before. When is the date? How soon? I mean, you're going through the process. How soon?
We got 5 months to go.
Not football season.
That is a ton of time on the clock right there for you to take care of this early if you need to. So I'm just saying, 2 plays in the huddle.
All right, TJ, good stuff. Give us the folks all your content. What you got
going
on?
Again, I'll be working Alabama and Mississippi State. That's Saturday night, Compass Media Networks. You can follow me if you care on the clever social media handle of Bucs Sideline Guy, BUC. Buccaneers radio with the Falcons. I think it will be a much better day Sunday. We're on the air Sunday at noon, 98 Rock in the Tampa Bay area. Anywhere in Central Florida, you can get it on the Buccaneers mobile app and on Buccaneers.com. You can hear Gene and Dave call the game and all the coverage and all the post-game stuff. So Looking forward to seeing the Buccaneers bounce back. Let's see what the Rays do this weekend. Always good to be with you, boys, on a Tuesday and breaking some bread verbally here. Good luck, Nick. 2 plays in the huddle, baby. That's the theme from the day.
Omaha. All right. Thanks, partner. Appreciate it. The great TJ Reeves there. We're going to take a break and tell you that we're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you're looking for some testosterone replacement therapy, that is the place to go. Chris Lugo will be on this month, and we'll have him talk about that. So just give him a call over there. Also, JeevesLawGroup.com, JEEVES lawgroup.com, the sponsor of our Gator Report every Thursday with Scott Carter at 11 o'clock. If your car was totaled and your insurance company didn't give you enough money to replace it like they normally do, you probably have a case. It's a free call. Go to JeevesLawGroup.com, contact them through the website, and tell them JP sent you. We will be back to our Red House streaming studios right after this. Stay with us.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Hey, if you have any questions about your insurance, and 64% of you do not have enough insurance on your home, with home values going up recently, your replacement cost, especially these days, has probably gone up as well. So if you have not had that conversation with your insurance agent, you should. And you can call Italiano, even if you're not going through them to get your insurance. Go ahead and give them a call. They'll help you out in any questions that you have about your insurance, because a lot of times if you're with a certain company, they're not going to really tell you everything you need to know because they don't want to lose you as a customer, right? They want to keep jacking up your rates each and every year. So if you want a kind of a second opinion on your homeowner's insurance, which you should get, call the good folks at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. They'll shop your insurance around. They might be able to find you a lower rate, and also they'll be able to inform you on if you're underinsured. So that's an important thing. And a lot of times you call these 1-800 numbers, you're not going to get a human being. You'll actually get a human being at the Italiano Insurance offices. So give them a call, 813-877-7799, and have them shop around your insurance. And by the way, if you have business insurance too, same thing, let them shop it around, because those prices can really, really go up and down, and they can shop it around for you. So they can save you thousands of dollars. And in this day and age, when every dollar counts, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. So give them a call at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. All right. College football, we wanted to dip our toes a little into this this week. Jeff Scott's going to do his press conference today, a little bit later on.
Exit press conference.
It's not his exit press conference. They have a whole season in front of him that needs to get straightened out, like in a hurry. They're going up to Cincinnati, number 24 ranked Cincinnati, on the road this week. It could get ugly. And the way you lose games, the way you compete is important. And if they stop competing for Jeff Scott, which they may have already done, it's not good. You can't survive that.
We're past the point of competing, in my opinion. We're far enough in this. I need results. This is a results-oriented business. And listen, USF, they ain't getting a result this week. Let's just put that out there. Cincinnati has been firing on all cylinders since the near loss to Arkansas at Cincinnati. And I know that USF played better on the road when they went up there against Florida, but that looks like just a blip on the radar. It ain't happening. So just not much confidence there. And to me, he's lost the fan base. And I know the fans don't run everything, but they're a big part of this. And I think that they've kind of checked out on Jeff Scott already. And I told you the videos that were circulating online of him just it's funny. People made a loop of it during all the timeouts. And it's him just going in a circle like this, just a little circle, and not even engaging at all with the timeouts, doing nothing. And it's alarming. Those type of things are alarming for Jeff Scott. And he has to, I don't.
What are you doing?
I don't know. And by the way, I pulled up the schedule here real quick.
If you're not interacting with your players on the sideline, like I know a lot of coaches, head coaches, especially, when they've been longtime assistants, they don't want to butt into what the other assistants are doing. They don't want to, they feel like they're usurping their power in any way. Dude, at this point, you don't have any other opportunity, and your assistant coaches ain't getting the job done. So your ass better be in every little meeting and every little huddle, saying something, imploring your players to do better. You've got to do something.
Here, let me put it on the stream real quick, actually.
Oh yeah, you can.
Everybody can see it now that I can do that.
Right. Yeah. So absolutely. Yeah, because I'd not seen these videos that you were speaking of. And that's alarming. I mean, I've seen this before. This is what Willie Taggart used to do. He just like sit there with his arms folded. Guys would be committing their 17th personal foul in the game, and he wouldn't even walk over and talk to the kid. I mean, He's like, "What are you doing? Like, you got to hold players accountable." We get the carnival music. That's him walking around the outside.
Yeah.
He's on his headphones. Oh wow, that's not good.
I gotta get this off the screen. It looks like we're campaigning now.
No, that is not a good look.
It's just not a good look.
It's not a good look.
It's not a good look. And I pulled up the schedule, by the way, because I'm trying to look for some hope here.
Yeah, anything?
When I said that I don't think they're winning another game, I need to find a win. On the road against Cincy.
Loss.
At home against Tulane, who's a lot better this year. Tulane's a good team. That's a loss. On the road against Houston.
Gonna get green waved?
They're getting green waved.
Gumby, is Gumby going to make the trip?
Probably. Houston, probably going to lose that. They're going to lose that game.
Yeah, Houston's good.
Winnable game, maybe on the road against Temple. There you
Yeah.
go. SMU, they're going to lose that game. On the road against Tulsa, maybe, and then UCF. At best, I see one win on the schedule going forward.
That's not going to get it. That's not going to get it.
So, and if that happens, hate to break it to everybody, but Jeff Scott will no longer be the head coach.
I mean, I love the guy. I love a lot of all the stuff that they're doing over there. But this, you just can't go forward like that. You just can't. It's not sustainable losing this many games. You got to show some progress. You going up. I mean, can you imagine if they won the Florida game? If they won the Florida game, how different would it be? And they should have won the game. They dominated. And that's the thing. When people tell me they have no talent over there, I'm like, you can't walk into Florida Field, into the swamp, and outplay the Florida Gators, an SEC team, and tell me they don't have talent. I'm sorry. You can't. That doesn't fit. So, all right. We get the Mike Leach?
Yeah, we got the Mike Leach.
So those of you know Trevor Sikkema, longtime Pewter report, longtime Tampa Bay Trey is his name. We've had him on the show many, many times. So he's engaged to Alyssa Lang, sideline reporter for ESPN. So I don't know why this topic of conversation came up with Mike Leach during a game.
No, it was after the game.
It was after the game.
I think she said, you're usually big on giving advice about weddings. Do you have any for me or whatever?
Oh, so this is a complete setup.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let me pull it up here.
It's like when comedians come on late night shows, they have setup questions.
Yeah.
So this is the setup question with Mike Leach. Mm-hmm.
I know you have strong thoughts on weddings. I'm in the middle of planning one right now. Do you have any advice for me?
Who are you marrying?
His name is Trevor.
Okay, yeah, well, I'll have to set up a meeting and I'll talk to him. Okay, so where's Trevor from?
He's from Florida.
What does Trevor do for a living?
He works in sports as well, covers football.
He does what?
He covers football as well.
Really? Well, I don't know. We'll keep a close eye on it, but whatever you and Trevor decide, I would kind of keep it on the down low, which you failed to do that. Trevor was probably planning to, but you didn't. So go ahead and don't say anything else about it, but as soon as the season's over, or even an off week, go elope. Trust me on that. Go elope. Because basically every female in the family is going to terrorize you guys until it's over. Once it's over, I mean, they'll be upset for a few days, but it'll be over. And then, you cruise away, along, have a happy marriage, have a happy life.
I'll pass along the message. Thanks, Coach. Congrats on the win.
Trevor, unless he's crazy, is totally on my side. And trust me on this. If Trevor doesn't have the sense to do that, tell him to call me because, I mean, he needs to do trust. I've told all my kids, I'll give you $10,000 extra if you elope. So far, they haven't done it, but I would too.
I'll have him call you for sure. Now you have.
We'll get Trevor on the show this week. Let me mark that down. See how that's going.
Man, I was listening to that with open ears, and I even showed Casey. I was like, "You hear what this man's saying?" I think I was part of my presentation.
Part of your presentation.
Part of my presentation.
Did you have like a little pinpoint diagram there?
Big PowerPoint guy.
Little PowerPoint?
Big PowerPoint guy.
All right. So here, so if you did the PowerPoint, how would that look? Be like, all right, here's the chunk of money that we could receive, for said elopement. But if you don't have the wedding, people don't bring gifts.
Here's all I need to say.
What?
Weddings are expensive.
Weddings are very expensive. It's one day and it's gone.
I am in the beginning stages of my sports media career.
Think
about
you are
this. A teacher.
Yeah. Hey, think about this. If you took $50,000, right, you could buy conceivably 2 or 3 properties that would bring you income and get you started in life on building wealth until the government takes away all private property. But until then, you can build your wealth. I mean, like I said, like we probably spent $150,000 on a wedding. And it was a hell of a party. Don't get me wrong. It was a hell of a party that I'll never forget.
Spending that much.
Fantastic. It was fantastic. I'm talking about everybody traveling over. I mean, that was a lot of money that people spent. I'm like, oh, instead of coming to a wedding, send me that $2,000 you were going to pay for your first class ticket.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. And also, I mean, honeymoon too. I mean, you got to pay for the honeymoon, and we're going to Antigua and Barbuda. I don't know if you've ever been there before.
Been to Barbados, never been to Barbuda.
Antigua.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, a little like kind of how you said, right? They're a little hut on the
little hut on the water. Yeah, that's nice.
You got to pay for that. I mean,
but that's worth it at least. That part of it's worth it. $75 for centerpieces. $2,000 for a cake. $5,000 for a dress you're going to wear once, $10,000 for a dress. I mean, this stuff, and they totally gouge you on the food. You get some rubber chicken, a little bit of broccoli florets for $75 a head. I mean, come on, it's crazy. It's bananas, and that's just the stuff you need. There's a whole nother level of stuff that you don't need that gets thrown in. That's really, really pisses you off. So,
and I don't care what flowers we have, by the way.
A lot of people do.
I keep getting asked I get asked by random people, oh, what kind of floral are y'all doing? Do you think I know what kind of floral I have? And why do you care?
Who cares? Like, what? No. All right. But good luck with that. All right. Our thanks to Scott Reynolds and TJ Reeves who joined us today. We had a great time chatting with them. If you want to go back and check it out, please subscribe to our YouTube page, The JP Peterson Show, and like that thing. Retweet our shows, retweet our polls. We have a final on the poll here. It was pretty much it was hanging at about 41% of people. 53% said it's early, he's fine, this is not Todd Bowles. 7% said he's in over his head. Better DC than HC. 38%, and he will win a Super Bowl, just 2%. So interesting. We'll have the final results on tomorrow's show. Have a great day, everybody. Go Rays.